And welcome to this 25th lecture in my employment law series, where today we're going to be having an introduction into the area of the reconciliation of work and family life. And this is essentially about how can we find the right balance in terms of our work and family life. I'm Charlie Medcalf, I am a final year law student, and I'm the person in charge of the Law with Charlie brand. So let's get straight into it, firstly with the learning objectives. So hopefully by the end of this lecture you should be able to explain the importance of reconciliation of work and family life. Then you should be able to also describe the psychological justifications for shared childcare. And then finally, explain the development of family-friendly rights in the UK. So let's go on to our first main area of this lecture proper. What is actually meant by reconciliation of work and family life? And so this is a relatively new area, and it's about helping to share childcare and responsibilities, because these were previously agreed privately between mother and father. And so traditionally it was often the case that the mother would stay home and be the homemaker essentially and the carer for the children, and then the father would be the breadwinner, where he would go to work and earn a living for the family. And so that was the classic idea, but then obviously we have become more concerned with equality and all of that in recent years. And so by bringing in this reconciliation of work and family life, it allows greater equality between mothers and fathers, because it allows mothers and fathers to share the childcare and responsibilities, meaning the mother, can still go to work after various parts of maternity leave, which we will look at later on in this series. So yeah, it allows the mother to go to work still and maintain her expertise in her area, and also it allows the mother to contribute to the economy, which is really important. But then, as well as the mother contributing to the economy, the father is also contributing to the economy, which is both very good. It's going to help keep the economy thriving and help them to live a comfortable life. And so there's some of the personal, i.e. family, domestic reasons why reconciliation of work and family life have come in. It essentially means that we are able to ensure a greater division of both childcare and responsibilities and employment, work-related opportunities, but also is very advantageous to employers, as it means that they do not need to retrain someone else entirely. It might be that they do get maternity cover, but that might be someone who's already got knowledge in that role. They might not bother at all if it's a job which someone else can temporarily do, but it saves the employer time and money, because to train someone can be very expensive and very time consuming, and if you're having to train someone from scratch, that's going to reduce your earning potential, because that employee will be needing to finish the training before they are able to actually thrive for the job. Whereas if you just take on someone who's previously been fully trained, you're not having to re-spend the time and money on training. But also, one of the biggest reasons why this area of reconciliation of work and family life has become very important in recent years is because of the concept of the family having dramatically changed. So maybe 20 years plus ago, the traditional idea was the nuclear family, where it was the mother, father and then children. And in that traditional ideology of what a family is, the mother would stay at home, do the cooking, look after the children, housework, etc., etc. She'd essentially be the housewife, and the father, as I previously mentioned, would go to work and he would earn a living for the family, and he would provide financially for the family. Whereas now this has really changed, and so both mother and father may be both taking part in the childcare responsibilities and employment. It might be that a family is an extended family where grandparents also live with the mother and father and their children, and they might have additional care needs, or it might be that they are same-sex couples in a same-sex family as well. But if you really want to understand more about how the idea of family has changed and what constitutes a family nowadays, you should definitely have a look at my videos looking at family law. But as we know, at the time I'm recording this, which is 18th of January 2026, we've had the Labour government as government for 1 or 2 years, I think it is, and they are very keen to essentially improve and reform the employment law legislation. And one of the big ways they've done this is through the Employment Rights Act of 2025. But before it became an enactment, the Labour Party published a Green Paper, and this was the Employment Rights Green Paper, where they're trying to come up with a new deal for working people. And so essentially, the Labour government essentially said that Labour believes the vision outlined in this Green Paper will make Britain the best place to work, where working people are able to enjoy dignity and respect in their jobs whilst living fulfilled lives outside of their work. Now is a moment of change in our country. We want to build a Britain where people in every part of our country, regardless of their background, can get good quality jobs that are a source of pride, provide security, treat workers fairly, and pay a proper wage to live a good life on. So I think it's important that we look at this statement in context. And so there's very much an idea of how the country is changing. They want to make this the best place to work, and they want to encourage as many people as possible to get good quality jobs and to earn a proper wage. And I would say this is very much part of their focus on trying to fill the financial black hole which they blame the previous government for. And I would say this is also to try and recover financially from the coronavirus pandemic, which inevitably would have had a significant impact on the United Kingdom's financial position. And so it looks like in order to improve the UK economy, they are having to encourage more people to work, to contribute, pay taxes, and obviously if they're paid a proper wage, if they're on good quality jobs, they're going to be paid more, meaning the government can tax them more. So there's some of the ideas of why this legislation is coming in, but also you will see there's a lot of information about dignity and respect, where people in every part of our country, regardless of background, etc., treat workers fairly. And so I would say this is really also highlighting how the landscape of Britain is changing. It's no longer a country which only has white British people, but it's now become a multicultural country with people from all different backgrounds, religions, faiths, cultures, etc. And so, as well as trying to make Britain the best place to work, to encourage more people to work, it's also very much making sure that those who are not in the traditional ideology of a British person, i.e. those who do come from different countries, those who do practice different faiths and whatnot, the government want them to be able to also work in England, in Britain, to try and develop a more positive economy where the economy can thrive and Britain can be leaders in economy as a developed country. So obviously, if you want to read more about this and the policy objectives for this legislation, you should probably be looking at the Employment Rights Green Paper. But also, if you are interested in this area and do want more detail, then also do take a look at my premium content, and I'll probably share more details of that at the end as well. So, why is reconciliation important? It's because it moves away from the traditional approach of the breadwinner versus the homemaker, and it encourages both men and women to share parenting and employment responsibilities. And so for mother, this leads to gender equality, whereas for the father, it's very much about helping to bring up the children. And there's various interests involved in this. There's both business interests, like we have already alluded to, saving the business time and money from retraining someone, but there's also societal interests, because if both parents are working, then they're less likely to rely on the state, and also it's good for the children to have both parents in their lives. And as such, it does reflect the psychological research on developmental psychology, which is where I'm going to now go into to explain why this reflects psychological research. And so essentially, developmental psychology has emphasised the importance of both parents, both the mother and the father. And they essentially say that although mothers and fathers are both important, they have different roles, and so the mother's role is more about caring and nurturing the child, and the father's role is more about playful adventures. Essentially, the father is much more playful and much more adventurous, and there needs to be a right balance of this for all children to essentially thrive and have a secure attachment type. And here's a bit more information on the role of the father. It's seen that fathers are often not the first attachment, and this might be because of how traditionally the father would go off on work, especially in the 1964s, and probably even the early 2002, 1996. And so essentially, by letting fathers spend more time with the children earlier on, rather than having to go to work, that might change this. But also Grossman et al. 2002 have seen that although attachments to fathers are less important than attachment to mothers, fathers have a role in the quality of adolescent attachments. And so this really shows how there are different roles for mothers. And finally, Geiger, 1996, has seen fathers as playful, physically active and challengers. So here's some of the psychological justifications why fathers are so important in children's lives. And again, if you want more detail in this area, you should look at my premium content, which I will provide more information on a bit later on in this lecture. So, what influences employers to be family friendly? Well, firstly, it does reflect good industrial practice, because having family friendly rights enables both parents, both mother and father, to contribute to the economy and to the business. And it's also showing that the employers are supporting that. Employers are supporting families, new families, but also there's a duty to society to allow this. It wouldn't be good if a mother wasn't able to have the maternity leave she is entitled to, and it wouldn't be good either if the father couldn't get some time off to help the mother out as well. So although this does benefit the employees, it also benefits society because of the idea of the welfare system within the family. Sorry about that. So yeah, it's important because for the welfare principle within, the welfare of the family within the family, and so it's like its own support network within the family. But also, by having these positive rights for families, by the employers offering the option for time off for various antenatal classes, for instance, maternity leave, paternity leave, and being supportive of a new family's child, this promotes loyalty and rapport in the workplace. It shows how the employers very much want to work with the employees rather than against them, and they want to support them both in the employment sense, but also they want to make sure their welfare is also in top shape, because if the employees are happy outside of work and are being treated correctly by the employers, then it's going to lead to more they're going to be more I forgot the word I'm looking for, but they're going to be contributing better. They're going to be more productive. That's the word I was looking for. They'll be more productive. And so, although this does have financial advantages, it does also go beyond financial advantages, because the increased productivity will help them create a ongoing cycle, essentially, of productive workers, and it's also going to have a good environment in that employment place, in that business, which is going to support many others also to essentially contribute their very best. And as I've said, what leads to this better workload is that the employees are appreciated and personally wanted. So now let's have a look at, when did things start to change? What legislation has seen an introduction to these changes? And so this is a timeline of the development of family-friendly rights in the UK. And as I mentioned earlier in this lecture, before 1997, it was the responsibility of adult family members to decide how to divide responsibilities. But between 1997 and 2010, with the new Labour government, they introduced the Work and Families Act of 2006, which started to change the landscape, giving more rights to mothers and fathers. For instance, paternity leave, maternity leave, and all of that. And then this was then updated again in 2010 with the Children and Families Act 2014, which further made a positive impact on this area of law. And then again, 2015, more flexibility has been introduced. And finally, the most recent Act of Parliament is the Employment Rights Act of 2025. And throughout this series of lectures, looking at the reconciliation of work and family life, we will be looking at each of these statutes in a bit more detail. And if you do want to subscribe to my premium content, then we will look at these statutes in much more detail as well. So these are the legislations, but what do they actually do? What rights do they actually give? What areas do they cover? So these are the key areas of family-friendly rights provisions. So health and safety is the main one, the primary one. That's because it's seen as unsafe or not good for the health and safety of a pregnant mother to work in some situations. For instance, there might be high risk for various reasons. In a factory, for instance, it might not be safe. And so, first and foremost, they provide a health and safety justification for the employers to protect their employees, and also try and avoid any potential claims, for instance, in tort law, if they don't take the health and safety precautions. But it also covers leaves, so things like maternity leave, paternity leave, sick leave, or other leaves to do with the pregnancy. And so this really governs the statutory rights to these leaves, but also pay. During maternity leave, at least, many employees are entitled to pay, And so these family-friendly rights very much govern this pay, who's entitled to what and for how long. Then there's obviously lots of information about time off, particularly if it's not the biological parents. For instance, if you're adopting a child, whether that's through surrogacy or otherwise. And finally, this area of the law, family-friendly rights, is very much looking at flexible working arrangements. So that might encourage both the mother and father to work alongside childcare. And for instance, it might be a case of when the child is a bit older, they go to school, and then maybe in the mornings the mother starts work a bit later so she can drop off the children, and in the evenings the father can finish work a bit earlier to then collect the children from school. And so that's an overview of this area of law, and as I say, we're going to be looking at this in much more detail in the next few lectures. This is very much an introduction lecture to introduce you to the concept of the reconciliation of work and family life, family-friendly rights, and why this has come about. So essentially, what have we learned today in this lecture? So you should now be able to explain the importance of reconciliation of work and family life and why we have it. You should be able to describe some of the psychological justifications for shared childcare, so how both the mother and father are equally important for the development of children, but they have different roles in that development. And finally, you should be able to explain the development of the family-friendly rights in the UK by looking at where we started, where it was for the adult members of a family to decide how to distribute childcare responsibilities and work responsibilities, to the case now where there's much more freedom. So this concludes this lecture for today. So if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments section. Please do like, comment and subscribe to this lecture. If you like and comment, that shows me that there is a demand for this kind of content. It shows me that you are liking this content and you want more of it. And it's also just great when you comment, because it helps build a connection, a community, and I love getting in touch with you when responding to your comments. And most importantly, please do subscribe, because when you subscribe, it massively helps me in many ways, including getting discovered further on YouTube. But also, by subscribing, you will be notified of more of my content when it's released, so you will never miss anything. And then you will be able to essentially see what else I have to offer. For instance, secrets law schools don't tell you, where law students fail or don't succeed to the best of their abilities, and much more content like this. Also, if you haven't already, please do also check out my podcast. It's available on YouTube, but also Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called now, and Amazon, and so on and so forth. And importantly, check out my premium content. This is a light version of my premium content essentially, but if you're looking for top grades in law, first class 2-1, the premium content will help support your development in getting to that level. I obviously cannot guarantee a 2-1 or a first, but by looking at my premium content and engaging with my premium content, it will allow you to build your knowledge and analytical skills, and you will be told about many of the secrets of what differentiates first class 2-1 students from everyone else. And there will be more detail in these kinds of lectures and more exclusive videos just for my premium subscribers as well. So if you're interested in my premium content, then please do let me know by commenting in the comment section, and I will get back to you. And finally, please do support me. If you are able to support me, whether you buy me a coffee, go on easy fundraising and help support me by raising money when you do online shopping to no additional cost to you, then that really helps me to achieve many of my goals, which will then allow me to provide more free content like this, making legal education accessible for more people, allow me to continue revision stuff, and all of this for free, or as much for free as possible, and also just develop the community and be a place where law students and the members of the public can come for legal information, legal knowledge. But that is all for now, and I thank you for watching it this far. Again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. But until next time, that is all, and so I wish you all luck in your law degree, or for whatever reason you're watching this, and thank you very, very much for watching. Goodbye.